Now it's time for our last second chance heat. Let's have a look at the substantial 29-strong field for senior Rotax. So it's an all-Dutch front row with Jens van der Heyden in the 394 on pole, Adam Valster in the 827 alongside. The 323 of Jort van Wijk will be joined by the 307 of Denmark's William Christensen. Serbia's Andrej Petrovic and Mats Johan Ovhoff representing Germany, row 3. Marco Bernardi and Ralph van der Peyvert, row 4, with Henry Beaumont and Liam Hezemans rounding out the top 10. David Moalem and Kaz Boshuis, row 6. Jamie Perrelly and James Johnson, row 7. Teddy Clinton and Samuel Ifrid, row 8. Montego Maassen. And we've also got Milo Kaskinen, Elia Papacena and Matthias Krohn rounding out the top 20. Completing the 29 strong is Arnold Dominko, Jericho Kalainen, Maximilian Schreier, Jani Niemi, Matteo Richter, Curtis Latimer, Igor Kichin, Fredrik Demant and Sonja Grönlund rounding out the order. So top 6 drivers will go through to the pre-final for seniors, which will be at 12:20, and the senior final will take place at 3 p.m. local time. So the red lights ignite on the starting gantry. Van der Heyden, Valster, Van Wijk, Christensen, Petrovic, Overhoff, Bernardi, Van der Peyvert, Beaumont and Hezemans. That is your top 10. They now start to close into formation as we get ready for racing. Into the tram lines. Revs rise. Are we ready? Are we steady? The second chance heat for senior Rotax gets going. And Van der Heyden leads the field going into turns 1 and 2. Jort van Wijk managing to try and get through, but stays stuck in 3rd position as the field makes its way through into turns 3, 4 and 5. And Andrej Petrovic has managed to get himself up into 3rd place robustly as they make their way through turn 7. It's getting a bit close for comfort. It's a little bit of touching. Drivers having a couple of moments here or there. And it was 3 wide going into turn 8. The battle for the lead continues on. Battle for 4th happening now. It's going through. James Johnson trying to make some headway. He's got the 8.53 in front, Jamie Perrelly. So now could be a change for the lead here. As Adam Valster gets through on Jens van der Heyden. On the bubble in 6th position is Dan Holland Racing's Henry Beaumont from Great Britain. He's got Marco Bernardi and Jort van Wijk ahead. Van Wijk has actually got ahead of the Italian. Mats Johan Overhoff is definitely getting his elbows out. He's got Daniel Moalem from Israel behind him. For how much longer? That's dependent on the 355 from Kraft Motorsport. But the top 2 have clearly broken away. Petrovic has got some daylight both in front and behind him. As Marco Bernardi has dropped down a couple of positions. It's all very, very late lunge from Kaz Boshuis from the Netherlands. Boshuis started in 12th position. Keeps ahead of the 307. Kaz Boshuis now up into 7th place. So the Dutch driver on the CRG chassis. Just behind is William Christensen. Mats Johan Overhoff and Daniel Moalem round out the top 10. But the 346 from Western Supermare, James Johnson, is trying to close on them rather rapidly. He has a very, very difficult set of heats. Sometimes there have been brilliant displays from the 346. The Anglo-German alliance has very much been struck up with multiple drivers in the Craft Motorsport camp. James Johnson, also Charlie Turner and Lewis Gilbert, amongst others. Liam Hezemans and Arnold D'Amico did not take the starts, but we've had a 3-second time penalty given to the 869. That's Daniel Mualem, who's lost out 10th position to James Johnson, who's now behind Mats Johan Overhoff. At the front of the field, Adam Valster and Jens van der Heyden have kept it a very, very good competition between themselves. Jort van Wijk has got past Andrej Petrovic, and now so has Marco Bernardi, the Italian, in the 875, running on the Formula K chassis. Henry Beaumont is also there. So is Kaz Boshuis and William Christensen from Denmark. So this battle for the final few positions in the top 6. Milo Kaskinen has got a 5-second time penalty for pushing. And also on that, we've had our Fredrik Demand from Denmark has just had a 5-second time penalty applied for 4 wheels out of the tram lines as Henry Beaumont has Kaz Boshuis up the inside through turn 6, looks to go to the inside, now has to start defending against William Christensen. So this is at the drop zone. There's a gap between Kaz Boshuis and also Andrej Petrovic, number 361 from Serbia. And halfway through this 10-minute plus an additional lap race. The top 2 still running together. They're looking to just get through relatively unscathed. But behind William Christensen, I thought this might happen. Here comes James Johnson in the 346. So you add another element to this battle, which is now going to be a 4-way battle. Henry Beaumont sends it up the inside of Kaz Boshuis and actually keeps it pinned to the outside a little bit there through the exit of turn 2 to not allow the 866 from the Netherlands to get through. Now James Johnson is looking to get away past William Christensen and could outbreak the Dane going into turn 7. Nice move there by James Johnson. Now up into 8th position. And there's still 4 3/4 minutes left, plus an additional lap. So Johnson looking to make hay whilst the sun tries to shine up above. As they come through into turn 12, he's going to get the run on Kaz Boshuis. Could he get the run on Henry Beaumont too? We're about to find out as they come out of the final corner. Valster and van der Heyden still leading the way. Van Wijk in 3rd. Johnson's got past Kaz Boshuis, and he kept it pinned to the outside to get the inside line for turn 3. And now the think gesture gets tapped on the right-hand side onto his own race helmet by James Johnson. And now he's got Henry Beaumont from Dan Holland Racing just up ahead. Beaumont's on the drop zone. Johnson is wanting to get through to the pre-final and the final. And if he does so, what's he going to be capable of? It's dependent on whether they get through. That's the biggest question that has to be answered through these second chance heats. So 3.5 minutes remain. What's more, Jort van Wijk is actually catching up to the 2 leaders. And now James Johnson goes for 6th and gets it before the apex of turn 2. Gets past Henry Beaumont in the 8:37 entry. And now James Johnson has stormed his way from 14th to 6th position. Now he's still got 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Can he go away? But at the front of the field, there has been a change. There has been a big change. The lead has changed as they're coming through. The lead is through turn number 9. So now, who is leading? It is not Adam Valster. It's going to be, more than likely, I think it might be, it's Jens van der Heyden and Jort van Wijk. So the two, it's now Valster sends it. Marco Bernardi's in this. Keep your eyes on the 2 drivers and the remainder of the top 6 and a few more behind. Valster gets Bernardi up his inside, and the Italian gets through for third place. This could give the opportunity for Jens van der Heyden to pull away, and he already did to the tune of about 0.4 of a second as we head into the last 2 minutes and 20, plus an additional lap. Bernardi was looking up the inside through on Jort van Wijk as Henry Beaumont now gets back a position on Kaz Boshuis, who now goes defensive on William Christensen down the Europalaan. And that's given James Johnson the break that he needs. But it's not just the amount of space that he's got behind him, which is extending. Look at the gap between him and Andrej Petrovic. This is not just going to be a 5-way battle for the race win and to get through. It's going to be a 6-way dogfight in the next minute and 40 seconds. Because I think James Johnson has called in the cavalry and it's the cart underneath him. And the top 6 were covered by 1.2 seconds. And now the lead has changed. Van der Heyden now behind Van Wijk. Bernardi, Valster. Bernardi and Valster go up the inside, and so does Andrej Petrovic. And here comes James Johnson. Looks to the inside, going down halfway of the Europalaan, but can't get through. So Van der Heyden was leading. He's now in 5th. This is how crucial this is to these drivers. And look behind. You've got Henry Beaumont, Kaz Boshuis, and William Christensen. Now, who is behind them? It's Jamie Perrelli. Jamie Perrelli, even though there's 50 seconds to go plus a lap, Perrelli could even come into this as Johnson looks over his right shoulder. He sees Beaumont there behind, tries to get through whilst defending, and Johnson gets a little touch from behind, but he keeps a hold of the position. Boshuis looking to go up the inside through turn 4 on Henry Beaumont. Can he get the run through turn 5? It's side by side. Beaumont's going to have the inside line for turn 6. They're still side by side, and William Christensen makes it 3 wide coming out of the corner. Beaumont defends. And Jamie Perrelli was there in a second. He was there in a flash. Was Jamie Perrelli, the 8.53, and he's got past Henry Beaumont and William Christensen. It's moments like that that showcase how crucial this top 6 is. These drivers don't want to have their race weekend ended now. They want to go through to the next 2 races and compete in the pre-final and the final. Last lap board is out. Jort van Wijk is leading. Jens van der Heyden sends it up the inside of Andrej Petrovic for 4th place. James Johnson is now back with them. So Jort van Wijk, Marco Bernardi, Adam Valster, and now Petrovic up the inside of van der Heyden. Johnson still holding station in 6th. Kaz Boshuis and Jamie Perrelli are closing in quickly as they go through the turn 7 chicane. 5 karts, that is effectively going to be 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th and 8th. Which 3 of these drivers, as Perrelli sends it up the inside of Boshuis, could he get a run to get into the top 6 and go through to the final stages of the competition? Out of the final corner, Jort van Wijk takes the win. Marco Bernardi jubilant after 2nd place. Adam Valster 3rd. Andrej Petrovic, Jens van der Heyden and James Johnson provisionally are your top 6. Jamie Perrelli was so close. Started 13th, finished 7th. But in the last 2 minutes of that race, everything was turned upside down and shaken about like a rag doll. Jens van der Heyden was leading. Jort van Wijk took the lead later on. And also Adam Valster was leading at one point. Even Marco Bernardi could have contested for the race victory. So let's have a look at the results, the provisional results for the seniors' second chance heat. Jort van Wijk takes the win ahead of Marco Bernardi from Italy with Adam Valster, Andrej Petrovic, Jens van der Heyden and James Johnson provisionally. Your top 6 going through. Jamie Perrelli so close, but finished 7th, having started 13th. Kaz Boshuis, Henry Beaumont and William Christensen ran at the top 10. Mats-Johan Overhoff, Samuel Ifrid, Elia Papasena, Ralph van der Pevert and Daniel Mualem from Israel ran at the provisional top 15 ahead of Maximilian Schreier, Montego Masson, Jani Niemi, Igor Kichin, Milo Kaskinen, Jere Kokalainen, Matej Richter, Curtis Latimer, Sonja Grönlund, Matthias Krohn, and Frederik Demant. Unfortunately, Teddy Clinton retiring on lap 8 with non-starts from Liam Hezemans and Arnold Domingo. Well, that was an interesting one there for the senior Rotax second chance heat. 29 drivers battling for the top 6 places to go through to the pre-final and the final later on today. It's all calm on the Western Front as the drivers made their way off of the dummy grid and the red lights went out. There you can see that was the 869 braking formation. Daniel Moallem getting a 3-second time penalty. He wasn't the only driver that would end up being penalised as Jens van der Heyden led the field going into turns 1 and 2. And Marco Bernardi managing to get past initially Jort van Wijk. Henry Beaumont was rounding out the top 6. And it was the start of a resurgence. The man who's had more comebacks than Muhammad Ali, Mr. James Johnson in the 3-4-6. And this was the move that meant that Jort van Wijk would get past Andrej Petrovic. Whilst Marco Bernardi was waiting in the wings, Henry Beaumont was holding station as the likes of Cas Boshuis and William Christensen would start battling with him as the Dutch driver on the CRG chassis would go on the inside of the 837 from Dan Holland Racing. William Christensen was there or thereabouts, so rechange of position. So Beaumont back up the inside of Boshuis through turn 2. Then James Johnson threw his 2 cents into the ring, got past William Christensen rather easily going into turn number 7 off of the Europolan. And then Johnson managed to make his way up into the drop zone, effectively P6 ahead of Beaumont, using the slipstream coming out of the final corner. Valster would then go up the inside through the final turn on Jort van Wijk as Marco Bernardi was closing in at a rapid rate of knots. And then there was the lead change between Jort van Wijk and Jens van der Heyden. It would see the slope that van der Heyden will actually start slipping down to. A little bit of a touch on James Johnson, who basically gives his opinion to Henry Beaumont and then gets the position back. So a sporting gesture there from Henry Beaumont, who went sidewall and side pod to side pod with Cas Boshuis, William Christensen, nearly making it 3 wide, and Jamie Perrelli decided to make his presence felt as Jens van der Heyden got past Andrej Petrovic, with James Johnson still behind. Boshuis and Perrelli also getting really close. And then Perrelli made the move through turn number 10 on the Dutch driver. But it'd be Jort van Wijk that would end up looking over his right shoulder. And the Dutch driver would power across the line to take the win in the second chance heat, with Marco Bernardi second, Adam Valster, Andrej Petrovic, Jens van der Heyden, and a sigh of relief there on the face and body of James Johnson.